Good morning. If everyone could please take a seat. Good morning and welcome to our students, faculty, staff, career day speakers, and other special guests. My name is Woody Weldon, and I'm a member of the class of 1991, and I'm currently serving as the president of the Pingree Alumni Association. Career Day has always been one of my favorite days of the entire year, and we're so proud to be welcoming back 53 alumni this year to campus, and including 33 who are first-time participants in Career Day. So we thank them for their time and their commitment and for all the wisdom and guidance they're going to share to our Form 5 and Form 6 students. To those students, I encourage you to take full advantage of the day, soak in the experience, make the most of it. Today is not the day to be shy. Introduce yourself to the alumni and ask some questions you might have. Participate and engage with the speakers, and all of them were in your shoes at this point at one point in time, and they're here at Career Day to share their experiences. So please ask them and talk to them. The Pingree Alumni Network is a valuable resource, and you are all members of this long blue line. And it's a lifelong membership that is granted by the fact that you attended Pingree. So today is about you, and Career Day will be only as valuable as you choose to make it. As a reminder, you can attend any panel you'd like in Session 3. You might choose to visit a panelist whose career you're especially interested in, or take a risk and choose a session outside your comfort zone. There's a wide breadth of career knowledge and experiences to draw upon here today, and I guarantee you'll learn something new from whichever panel you attend, and the best and most relatable experience might come from somewhere that's unexpected. After the keynote address, I'd ask everyone please remain seated as we have our alumni speakers wait for their designated student ushers to be dismissed. So just wait for instructions when the keynote speech is over. It's now my pleasure to welcome Head of School Matt Levinson to the stage in order to introduce today's keynote speaker. Matt?
Thanks, Woody, for getting us started and for your leadership of the PAA. So this is my first career day at Pingree, and I'm excited to be able to be part of it and hear the speakers. This morning at the breakfast, as everyone was arriving, I had a chance to check in and talk with many of today's speakers. And students, I think you're really going to enjoy hearing their stories. And one of the things that I think you'll enjoy most is that a lot of their pathways have not been straight. They've diverged, they've swerved, they've gone in different directions, and they've ended up in multiple destinations, and I think you're going to hear that today. And I think the timing of today's day comes at a really good time for us and for you all as students, because juniors, I know you've just begun conversations about the college process. Seniors, you've been in conversations about the college process, and today is about pushing the horizon out 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You're going to see where folks who've gone to Pingree have ended up and what they've chosen to do with their lives in so many different careers that they've chosen. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for you. And like Woody, I would encourage you to ask questions. And in fact, a few of the speakers said they were quite nervous to be speaking to students. They're used to speaking to adults all the time, so I think you'll enjoy getting to know them this morning. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jennifer Weiss from Pingree class of 1989. She's our keynote speaker today. She's an orthopedic surgeon specializing in pediatric orthopedic surgery and sports medicine. Only 6% of orthopedic surgeons are women. She currently serves as the assistant chief of orthopedic surgery at Los Angeles Medical Center. Dr. Weiss graduated from Williams College in 1993 with a degree in art history, criticism, and conservation. She received her medical training at the Mount Sinai School of Medicine in Manhattan, and then completed her internship and orthopedic surgery residency at the Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, Texas. As the daughter of an orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Weiss saw firsthand that women in medicine were outnumbered by their male colleagues. In medical school, she encountered the same reality and met even fewer women who shared her aspirations of becoming an orthopedic surgeon. Throughout her career, Dr. Weiss has worked to help talented women become successful surgeons and to inspire them to enter the field of orthopedic surgery. Dr. Weiss has also brought her 2 daughters here today to hear her speech, so it's wonderful to have them in attendance as well. Please join me in giving a very warm Pingree welcome to our keynote speaker, Dr. Jennifer Weiss. Thank you.
People that normally talks to adults, and it's so fun to talk to kids. My daughters are like this, like, Mom, what are you going to say? Don't embarrass yourself, don't embarrass me. And I am nervous that I'm going to curse, because sometimes when I'm talking to surgeons, I curse. So if I curse, I will have detention, and we'll see how that goes. As I thought about what I wanted to say today, I pulled out pictures of myself and started to kind of get into the shoes that I wore when I was here. And I was watching Gretchen Weiss a couple of minutes ago. So, guys, I heard you still have to line up in the correct grades, like 7th graders up there down to the seniors here. And I don't know if you still have to sit in alphabetical order. We did, and I got lucky enough to have Gretchen Weiss sitting next to me for a number of years. And she was kind of sideways talking to Denise, who was also in our class. And it brought back this memory of me like, Gretchen, you can't sit sideways and talk to me. There's somebody up there that we're supposed to be listening to. And so that was me. I was kind of like the shy rule follower. And I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't know that I was going to succeed. And so I thought, I kind of want to write this as a letter to my 17-year-old self, like it's going to be okay. So that's what I did. Somehow, I went from this shy, rule-following person, sitting in these seats, to what I'm going to call myself fierce at this point. I have biceps now, and I'm wearing, this is me in this picture, I'm wearing a t-shirt that says, Super Women of Surgery. So this t-shirt arrived in the mail one day, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and it was just like a package sitting there, and it was from a young orthopedic surgeon who's a woman. She actually lives out in Morristown. She lives near here. And I didn't know her, but she had seen me speak, and she decided she wanted to tell me, by sending me this shirt, that I kind of inspired her. And in turn, she inspired me to tell me kind of what I was doing and who I was, who I am. So the pack of being together and bringing each other up. That's what we have to do, being such a small cohort of women in orthopedics. But it's also how I view my Pingree days, my Pingree people, the people who raised me, kind of this pack of bringing each other up. That's what the Alumni Association is for me. So going back to my story, to my 17-year-old self, I'm clearly not 17 here. Sorry this one's washed out, but this is me as a kid, even younger than my daughters who were there. They're 13 and 10, so I was younger than that. This man, the guy in the weird 70s glasses, Dr. Andrew Weiss, he was kind of larger than life. He was 6'6" when he came around the school. Like, Norm Lavalette is here somewhere. Like, he just towered, and he was really big, and he was an orthopedic surgeon. He did not grow up going to a school like this at all. He grew up in Brooklyn, before it was cool to grow up in Brooklyn. And he got himself somehow, he was a smart guy, he was a quirky guy. Somebody took an interest in him and got him hooked up with a scholarship to a little school in Massachusetts called Williams College. And he went there on a scholarship. He impressed people there. He somehow got himself into medical school. He somehow got himself through surgical residency, and he became an orthopedic surgeon. And when we moved to New Jersey, when I was in kindergarten, it was because he became the chair. We used to say chairman, but it's cool these days to say chair, because they're not all men. So he became the chair of University, UMDNJ, which is the medical school in New Jersey of orthopedic surgery. And he put education above all else. In my house, that's what it was about. My mom, she's in these pictures. She's wearing cool 70s glasses in this one without her cool glasses in that one. She's the kind of mom who is, we're live streaming. It's 5:30-ish on the West Coast, so she moved out to California to follow her kids. She's the kind of mom that's up and watching this right now. So hi, Nana Madge. And she is the kind of mom, she pushed all of us. Like, I'm looking at my classmates. We all remember, I remember, I think Denise does, She created something called study hours, and they were terrible. So I was known to be on the phone quite a bit, and she created this 2-hour window where if you would call between 7 and 9 p.m., what you were told is, Jenny's studying. And unless I had a homework question in which I would pick up the phone and have to be monitored, I was not on the phone from 7 to 9. She's a really smart woman who tells me a lot that if she had grown up in my generation, she would have been a physician. She was an occupational therapist, which is a hand therapist, and definitely the smartest person of the group. And in my corner, in my girls' corner, I actually have a boy too. I should talk about him too, but she's in our corner all the time. These are the people that sandwiched me in my house and at Pingree. So my big brother, Adam, he had big shoes to fill academically. Norm Lavalette told me this morning he's still the best student that he ever had. He's old, he's 52. He was super brilliant. And so I walked through this school 4 years after him, people looking at me like, are you smart? Are you gonna be a good basketball player? Can you play the guitar? No to all of that, but he came before me here. And then he went on, by the way, to a little school called Harvard. He did pretty well. He has already retired. He was a hedge fund manager. So things turned out well for him. My little sister, my younger sister, 6 years behind me at Pingree, she was the wild child. So when she got into Stanford, it was a little difficult to reach her, to tell her, because she was in detention here. She told that story in an interview recently, and people loved it. She teaches mindfulness, and she's a consultant around the country. She was invited to do this with me, but she's at NASA teaching some astronauts, so sorry she's not here today, maybe she'll come another time. So she's a grounder. She was a wild child, and now she's a grounder. She is the person that reminds me to breathe. So, 5th grade. I actually started Pingree in kindergarten. Halfway through kindergarten, I got so lucky they had a spot for me. So, but this was me in 5th grade. I had already been at this school for 5 years. I thought, wow, I got it all together. So much so that for some reason I wore a blazer in my outfit. I'm sitting right next to the teacher, of course. Miss O, we used to call her Miss O'Neill. She got married and had a different name after that. But I have such big memories of her. Here's the thing about Pingree. I could name more than half of the kids in this class. We were that close, right? And so it's been more years than I can tell you, but I can name them. That tells me they made such an imprint on me, my pack, the people who raised me. This is us, our senior year. I am like right down the crease in the back, and the friend that's sitting between me and the girl with the bangs, Dodie Port, clearly said something. Her name is Ing Lee. She and Denise Dragoni, who's sitting here, co-won the math prize. They co-won the math prize, but we would go out to dinner in New York in our early 20s, and they couldn't figure out the tip. I'd be like, ladies, they made them a special math class, but they were so smart that you couldn't really do. Anyway, so Ing said something funny. Dodie and I turned to the side and laughed. They snapped the picture. She looks perfect, and you can't see us. But those are the memories. So my handle on social media is my mom, the surgeon. These are the people who make me the mom. So I told you I have a son too, and he's not authorized to travel on a plane with my daughter Colette because they fight, tear each other. So we had to choose who was coming, and this was girl power trip. So he's in Los Angeles. He's 8, and he's a head taller than Coco. So he's a crazy man. He's an athlete. He would love Pingree. So this is a photo of the Curtis School, and I want to tell you how far the reach of Pingree goes in our lives. When we interviewed to we were applying for both of my daughters midstream. So it's really hard to get a spot in these fancy private schools midstream. And so when we had our interview, They were kind of impressed that I was a surgeon. They were kind of impressed at some of the things my husband did. They loved my girls. But this is where the conversation went. You went to Pingree? Like the Pingree school? I'm like, yes. That's what they wanted to talk about, not Williams, not anything else. They wanted to talk about Pingree because this place, the reputation goes that far. The other thing that I'll tell you about is I'm doing what my dad did. We're paying it forward to education. It comes above all else in our family. It doesn't go to the fancy cars. It doesn't go to the fancy trips. It goes to education. That's what's carrying me forward, and that's what's going to carry these kids forward. Okay, my confession. I wrote it in red. I got cut from the Pingree tennis team. I got cut. It was a terrible day. It was a terrible month. I still thought of myself as some sort of an athlete, even though I got cut. And I have a really embarrassing story to tell. So my dad, I told you, was this big guy, a little bit geeky. He didn't think I should have been cut. So he called, it may have been Norm Lavalette, he called somebody, I don't know the story, he brought it to his grave. He said, she shouldn't have been cut, so what are we gonna do about this? So next thing I know, I'm set up to play a tennis match against this woman named Jessie Seif, was her maiden name. She's now Jessie Hull. I got my butt kicked. I totally deserved to be cut. I wasn't a very good tennis player. So here's the thing about Pingree, though. Jessie was the point guard, I'm looking at Miss Marsh back there, to my center on the basketball team for many years. So I loved her. I respected her. She was a great athlete. We were friends. That's what Pingree did. You competed, and then you came together and you were friends. And I encourage you to remember that feeling and that philosophy. So I didn't stop playing tennis. I became one of those weird adults who walks around in tennis skirts. I'm good at tennis now, much better than I was then. And I'm so addicted. Oh, you can't see it very well. I'm super pregnant in this picture. I was pregnant with Coco. I'm kind of a fierce tennis player, like I'm a fierce surgeon. And it came from being cut from the Pingree tennis team. So you guys were asked to submit questions, and thank you, because I got some great ones. And one of them was, what are some of the lessons that you learned here? This wasn't in the classroom. This wasn't a positive lesson, I thought at the time, but it turned into something big for me. Here's the other thing. I'm not a great athlete, but I learned to identify with athletics. And my love of sports, although I am not a professional great athlete, I get to take care of them. So this is me. I don't do it anymore, but I used to take care of the Galaxy soccer team. And this is me with the coach and the other doctors. So I'm looking a little flirtatious in the picture. On the other side of the camera, he wasn't taking the picture, but he was in the locker room, was David Beckham. I got to hang out with him. That was nice. So I really, identifying with athletics, this place is sporty, it always has been. You don't have to be the best athlete to learn the lessons from playing the sports. Being around them is important too. So I get asked a lot as one of the 6% of women in orthopedics to talk about how do you balance all of it? And this is a typical beginning to the talks that I give to adults where I'm allowed to curse. So can I have it all? Perspectives of a surgeon mom. And oftentimes when I'm talking to the adult orthopedists, who are 94% men, I call it a surgeon parent. Because it is so important to the men and boys in the room to be present as a dad, just as important as being present as a mom. And so wrapping together our career choices, it's not just the women that have to think about how am I going to balance it all. It's the men too. The statistics say that children of mothers who work do just as well whether they work or they don't, or whether they go to daycare or not. But the statistics also show, and these are statistics of heterosexual married couples, so kids who have moms and dads in the house, that the indicator of success that you can tease out is actually how present the dads are. I was really lucky. My dad was super into making sure I was educationally successful, and in other ways too. So this isn't just for the future moms in the room. So how do we balance career and family? It looks so serene, right? We were in Hawaii. It was a lovely sunset. 4 of us, forget what year. Here's some things you don't know looking at this picture. You kind of gotta wonder below the surface when you're on social media and you're seeing all this perfect stuff. So here's one thing, the little redhead over there had just barfed on my husband. Here's the other thing. It's a way more complicated situation. I was pregnant with my boy. I'm gonna teach you a word, bilateral. It means on both sides. We use it in medicine. My orthopedic friends call this the bilateral nanny picture because our lives were so crazy, even before I had my 3rd kid, that we had to have not 1 but 2 au pairs live with us. And by the way, they were both from Germany, and I needed to pull out my German skills way out of my back pocket, and so I got to tell them secrets about my kids and my husband all the time in German that nobody understood in the house. Whatever it is that we do, I really encourage myself and you guys to get in touch with the why. Why am I doing this? Why am I choosing this? How does this speak to my heart, to my feelings, to who I am on the inside? Being a doctor, being a surgeon, it's crazy. I'm up early, I'm up late, it's physical, I'm tired, I'm grouchy. I'm going to tell you good things about being a doctor too, don't worry. But this is what I come back to every time. I have books and bulletin boards of these kinds of cards and messages, the thank yous. I take care of kids, and so when I get a picture like this, thank you, Dr. Weiss, for fixing my knee, and using the word love from a little kid. Thanks for fixing my knee, Dr. Weiss. This goalie, she's a girl. This girl, she's 11. She came kind of limping into my office, like something might hurt. I take an x-ray of her knee. It's broken wide, serious break. Like even if I put the x-ray up, you guys would even see that it's broken. But she marched into my office. She's like, I think something might be wrong. So I fixed her knee and she got back to being a goalie. And she's just a fierce little woman. So this is my why. This is why I became a doctor, and I have to remember to go back to this when the going gets tough, because it does. So this is a picture that I hate to love and love to hate. So these are a bunch of different specialties in medicine. Orthopedics is at the bottom. This 9% is actually a lie. It's only 6% of the women, or of the orthopedic surgeons in the United States are women that are board certified. So that means we actually have a license and all that stuff. 6%. That's such a small number. Here's something that I am super embarrassed about and mad about. Not only are women underrepresented in orthopedics, people of color, underrepresented minorities, make up less than 4% of orthopedic surgeons. It is an old white boys club that we are slowly infiltrating. And this has kind of become my life's work in addition to fixing kids. Norman Rockwell. Any budding art historians in the room? Have any of you guys heard of Norman Rockwell? So, yay, I saw a couple of hands. He created these wonderful, iconic images of our country in the 40s. And this photo on the top, the We Can Do It with the red bandana, Rosie the Riveter. So a riveter is somebody who makes metal super hot and then chucks it to other people. We were just at the Empire State Building yesterday, so we saw a little video of riveters. Really, quote, unquote, masculine work. So Norman Rockwell created this picture of Rosie the Riveter because when all the men went off to war, the women got to step up to do, quote unquote, male jobs. So this picture, this image has been appropriated in lots of different ways. This middle one is the military adaptation. So it's not been that long that women can actually come into combat in the military. And a lot of marketing and messaging and storytelling had to be told about women rising to that level in the military. So of course, we as surgeons wanted to adopt our own version of the she can do it. So it was we, and we went to she. Valerie Lewis is a little bit senior to me in the field of orthopedics, very smart woman, and she was interviewed by the Chicago Tribune about women in orthopedics, and she said, we have to appeal to all of the medical school class, which is, by the way, now more than 50% women in this country. If we're not appealing to 50% of the class that is women, then we're losing the best and the brightest. You could substitute people of color, you could substitute underrepresented minorities. It goes for everything, not just orthopedics. So this is the reason that diversity and inclusion is so important. We want everybody to feel included, and feelings are important, but it's also just better. It's better medicine, it's better science, it's better everything. So this is former Defense Secretary Ash Carter, and this is what he said, this is the parallel. You have to recruit from the American population. Half the American population, believe it or not, is female. So I'd be crazy not to be, so to speak, fishing in that pond for qualified service members. It is really important to enter whatever it is that we've decided to do in a fierce way and put on our superhero capes for whatever it is that we're going to do. My superhero cape is my white coat. Orthopedic surgeons, we don't really use stethoscopes, but my superhero cape is my white coat. It's my scrubs. I'm going to show you some pictures of what I look like when I'm doing my work. But I encourage you to think about, what is your superhero cape? Part of my superhero cape was created right here on this campus, and it goes on me to remind me of who I am and bringing it forward into my life. So we may only be 6%, but my goodness, we stick together. So these are some of the women that I am lucky enough to work with. None of these women are actually in my office. So there's 25 orthopedic surgeons that I work with on a daily basis. None of them are women. So we have to find each other. We all hear about how social media can be kind of dangerous and can be bad and can be a suck of time. But I actually, probably half of the women here in these photos have connected with me for the first time through social media. My husband calls it fake friends. So fake friends from real friends. They'll find me, they'll seek me out on social media. That's what prompted me to become more involved with social media. So it's not all a bad thing, I think. Although my girls aren't allowed on it yet. Sorry, girls. The other thing you'll notice is I'm probably the oldest of this crew of women. I'm not that old. I seem super old to you guys now, but I'm not that old. And I don't have very many women above me in my field to come down and mentor me. Believe me, the ones that exist do it, and they're great, but there's a handful. So my very clear message to myself and my challenge to you is, whatever it is that we are doing, not to climb the ladder and pull it up behind us. I'm climbing the ladder and it's there, and I'm helping the people below me and behind me to pull them up. And that's why I'm connecting all the time with these fake friends. These are actually real friends. So Los Angeles is a pretty big city. There are tons of orthopedic surgeons in Los Angeles, like in the thousands. These are the women. We all find each other. We have a brunch every year. And sadly, we all fit into a very small space. But we have got each other's backs, and we take care of each other. This young woman who's in the front with the glasses, her name's Melanie. So Melanie messaged me on Instagram last year. It turns out you can message on Instagram. You guys probably know that. I didn't understand why there's this little red one in the corner for a while. And then I was like, I'll click on that. So it turns out you can message someone. And she said, Dr. Weiss, I'm a medical student. Do you have any advice? And it was kind of an open-ended question. So I messaged her back and I said, oh, where are you and who are your mentors? And she wrote back and she said, I'm at Charles Drew, which is a medical school in Los Angeles, and I don't have any. I am a woman, I am African American, I'm gay, and I don't have any mentors. It was kind of like, will you be my mother? Kind of a reach out. And yes, the answer is of course, because she needs to become an orthopedic surgeon so that there can be more orthopedic surgeons like her. So I dragged her to the brunch, and she sat there, and she didn't say very much during the brunch. She interacted kind of quietly, and I knew by that time she was not a quiet woman. But she called me afterward, and she said, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, you couldn't believe what? That we had tacos? Like, what was going on with you? And she said, I just couldn't believe there were women in real life that are all orthopedic surgeons in one place. You guys are like unicorns, and you're all in one place. So she just reiterated to me why I have to do what I do, which is shout from the rooftops, we can do this. So my superhero cape comes in all sorts of different flavors. So this situation, I'm wearing a helmet, like a spacesuit. When we do replacements of joints, we have to be super extra clean. So that's the helmet that we use. And that's what that is. This is called lead. It's a lead apron. So you guys see them maybe when you go to the dentist, when they take x-rays of your teeth, they put them on you. So when I do surgery that I'm taking x-rays for, I wear, this thing covers like almost my whole body. And you'll notice it's like super bright pink, and it's got like Dia de los Muertos, cool skeletons on it. That is part of my superhero cape. These are my power tools. So these are the things that I'm using to fix people's bones and stuff. I love my power tools. And it still freaks my husband out at home, like when he's trying to fix something and I'll take a screwdriver and I know what to do with it. He's like, I don't understand, how do you know? I'm like, that's what I do every day in the operating room. I don't want people to think that I don't connect with the men. I do. There figured out is I learned how to learn from art history. Every single thing that I learned as a resident in orthopedics, I told you I'm old, it was 20 years ago. I don't do surgeries like that at all anymore. So it was like the learning to learn, the learning the patterns, and I can connect with my patients in different ways and be a little bit broader. It goes to the swerve. So the end result is not where you're going to go to college in 2 or 3 years. The end result is who you're going to be as a person. And if you're following what you love to do, it'll all kind of fit together and help it in really interesting ways. Okay, thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to meeting you all individually.
Thank you, Dr. Weiss. It was a fantastic speech, and we really appreciate all the wisdom you gave our students today. We're certainly proud to have been able to welcome you back to your Pingree home, and you emphasized it so greatly, so thank you for feeling so warm about it. I'd like to also thank everyone for joining us here today and this morning and your continued dedication to Pingree. At this time, I'd like everyone to remain seated while our designated student ushers leave the auditorium.